Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we getting on? Welcome to a brand new camp build. So today we're working on an idea I've had for a little while, which is to build something that's really quite tiny, but still functional. So we have a tiny little pavilion-style camp today. Yeah, as you can see, it's absolutely minuscule, this little camp, which is what I was going for. I think it'll work well for people who perhaps don't want to build so much or build something so large. It's pretty cool, but also a fun challenge for those who are into something different. So this is where we are for now, and you see, there's my tiny little camp, just on top of the hill near Helvetia. We're actually sort of a little bit further north than the map marker makes it look. See flashlights going off over there. There's the Wayward in 76. So this spot, to be honest, it's actually not the best spot to build in that it could be. I think moving up a little bit closer to Arctos Farmer in this region would probably be more sensible if you're going to build in this area, as there's a few drawbacks to this specific location. Let's have a quick look at this build. It's not a particularly long one, obviously, with it being so tiny, but it's kind of fun. So we'll get some foundations in first and foremost. So one thing I would have done slightly differently, or would do if I did it again, is to slightly reposition the way this is set up. Once you've got all four in like this, making sure one of the corners is pointing towards the direction you're going to approach the camp from will probably look better. That's what I was going for here, but I didn't quite pull it off. So that way you're approaching sort of 1/4 of the camp. So it just looks a little bit cooler as you walk up that way. Well, we're going to double up these walls. We're using the contemporary ones because they snap together back to back much more easily, but we'll swap them out in a moment. And create 4 little segments that we're going to basically have separate themes for. As I say, it's a relatively basic thing, and each one's kind of got its own little theme with functionality in mind, really, for the design. So I'm switching out to the basic wooden walls here, because they're a little bit more cooperative with wallpaper on when you come to decorate later, compared to the contemporary set anyway. So there we go, nice and easy. We'll get some roofs on. So to make this a little bit more interesting, you can do pretty much anything you like with this, but I'm going to use these corner pieces and have the upper corner, the part where it meets, pointing outwards, as you can see there. Gives it kind of a pavilion vibe, still covers the foundation, just makes it a bit more of an interesting shape. I'd have liked to have gone a little taller, but the way the building system works would have made that awkward or too tall, so 1 wall high it is. I'm going to go with a different textured floor piece for each quadrant, to make things a little bit more interesting. We're going to do the same thing with the wallpaper as well, just to kind of differentiate each one. So I'm going to pick some ones that I happen to like and feel suit the kind of crafting vibe of the place. There's some wooden ones. That's the green wooden ones here. We'll use a couple of different ones on the back as well. And there we go. We'll speed along as there's no need to sit here putting loads of wallpaper on. So, jumping up to the top in a moment, we are going to put a little generator up here. And this roof is kind of a good place to hide a couple of little things like this. So I don't need much power because I'm not going to have a decon arch in this particular camp. So we're just going to use 1 small generator, use the Voltsec one because it's silent. We use one of my favourite little tricks to create almost portable power, which is just attaching a power conduit straight to the back of the generator, wire them up, and there we go. Really good way of just hiding a little generator if you need one. That should be plenty to power all the lights in the area. So, trying these larger cage bulb lights, unfortunately, they're not going to cooperate on this roof, and neither will the small ones in a moment. So we'll have to come up with a slight alternative. I did want something over the end like that, but yeah, clearly it's not going to go on there. So we'll just put a couple of these ones just close up to the wall near the bottom where they actually will snap into place. There we go. So we've got a splash of light on each section here so that we can actually see in the evenings. So not much of a problem in the daytime, but at night it's a bit dingy. There we go, dead simple. Now we're going to start getting a little bit of furniture in here. Oh, first I'm going to put some stairs on. So I'm going to run all the way around the outside with the Haunted House foundation, because I like the darker colour, just so that we can run up into any quadrant we like nice and easy. So, as I say, each section is going to kind of have its own theme. So this first one's going to be weapons, one next to it's going to be armour, there's going to be one at the back for kind of chemistry and brewing, and then the last one will end up being a bit more of a mishmash. It's going to have the symptomatic in it, it'll have a vending machine in it, and it'll be for cooking as well. You might want to consider swapping some bits out if you want to squeeze a bed in here, but you can always drop a shelter nearby as well. It's option 2. A couple of bits on the other side. There's the power armor station, and we can just about squeeze this armor workstation in next to it as well. We do have a little bit of clipping going on with that pipe, but I can kind of live with that for the sake of the tiny build. Just get it to sit where I want it to. Just test that one out. Nice. Please excuse my hideous Fashionac themed outfit. And we shall push on. I'm going to just shove this over just a little bit so it's a bit closer to the front. So we're not right up next to the power armor station when we're using it there. Come around this side. You see I've gone for the cinder block style wallpaper. And we're just going to drop some chemistry stations in here and a brewing station as well. Drop that one up against the wall. Find the chemistry station. I'm quite pleased with the fact that this sort of went down the side of the brewing station quite nicely there and still left me with access to both benches, which is quite cool. Saves a tiny little bit of room and it looks pretty decent, I think. So this one was way more of a pain in the neck because I want to put the symptomatic in, and this thing is a nightmare for its collision, particularly around the back side of it. For some reason the collision box on the back sticks out way too far. So we're going to have to take some steps and push this a bit further back into the corner. Let's see, we're now try and adjust it here. That's about as close as it's going. So we're going to take the walls off. You might actually be better off doing this as the first thing you do if you're going to do something similar. So nudge it a little bit further back there, which is a start. Still not far enough. As you see, it's still being awkward. That's as far as it's going to go. So we'll whip these two walls off as well. Fortunately, it actually cooperated quite well, and I didn't actually need to remove these benches in the end, but I did, so we'll get those out of the way. Also, because the lights are attached to the ceiling, they don't block the walls when they go back in, and they stayed there, so those didn't get stored either, which was definitely a win too. So shove that symptomatic back a little bit further. Now we can put the walls in afterwards, because that'll bypass the collision. Good old build order. So we'll swap these walls back over to the ones we had before and re-wallpaper them. I'm actually going to use different wallpaper on this side to the first one I used, so that's a bit more interesting. And we'll get the benches back in. One thing I did want to show you here, I ran into a slight snag. For some reason, this particular chemistry bench this time didn't want to sit right up against the wall. God knows why, it's just being helpful like that. But if you come around to the side so you can see the gap, and see along the back, the game sort of figures out what's going on so you can get it into place. So, oftentimes when things are not playing ball with sitting next to walls, just changing the angle you're looking at them from really makes a big difference. So, useful little tip to have in the back of your mind. I'm going to chuck a barbecue in the corner there. It's a nice compact cooking station. We'll get the punch card machine in on this side. It's going to need to be there somewhere. There we go. I'm actually going to tweak that corner a bit in the decoration, or the extended part of the decoration. And to round things off for now, I'm just going to put a vending machine on this corner. We'll just drop a cash register style on the top of this table, which will sort of give us a general idea of what we're going to do. I'll change things up a little bit in the decoration phase because I don't quite like the way this looks. It's a bit kind of bare and on its own. So we'll mix things up. We'll add a few extra bits of decoration. We'll have a look around the finished product of this that really did not take very long at all, which is fun with this little thing. Okay, so let's tour. You can see tiny little build there. Loads of little bits of detail just added on to dress things up, make it look way more interesting. If you wanted to blueprint and move this, you could do. I'd recommend not having the flag on the top, although I do like it, and I would take the staircases off as well before you blueprint, which is also going to mean some of the decoration would have to change, as those things are likely to make it difficult to replace. But, other than that, you should be okay. We've got a little weapons area there, loads of bits and pieces just added to the wall to texture it up, make it a bit more interesting, make it a lot busier to have a look at. Same around this side. Put a little something on each corner of this as well, just to kind of enclose it ever so slightly, and also just make it look a bit more interesting. Got the firefly lanterns on the corner. I was hoping to put a cycling light or something there, but wiring them up's kind of a nightmare. I hate that you have to run wires to the cycling lights, so I went with the fireflies, as they're quite cool. There's our little chemistry area. A few extra bits added down on the walls. Drop some mannequins in as well. I wanted to kind of cover up the ends of the walls a little bit, or at least draw the eye away from them, so that's kind of why those are there. Same with the signs. So I changed this corner off as well, so we've got a bit more going on around the vendor there and underneath the punch card machine as well. And dropped a couple of Vault Boys in and put the camp unit just behind it. Excuse the chunks of super mutant. That's one thing that's not great about this particular location. It does generally attract attacks a lot. It's an enemy spawn point just right next to it, so there's another reason I'd move. There we go. Dead simple little pavilion camp. It's really, really tiny, really easy to do, kind of fun. I like how it came out. If you like that one, please do consider dropping subs and likes. I very much appreciate it. Down below the video, you can find social media links, merch store, and channel memberships as well. If you're interested in supporting the channel in that way, I'd very much appreciate that too. And if you get the chance, do join us for live streams as well. We are, of course, playing Fallout 76. Go check out Fashion Act very soon. And we'll be finishing off Control and moving on to something new very, very soon as well. So I do hope you'll join us for those as well. But for now, thank you very much for watching. I look forward to speaking to you all very, very soon.